Hello friends. I hope this finds you well and that you are doing good. I'm still in Lisbon and I'm here until Friday and on my way. I'm really chill right now. Really chill. I've had a beautiful day teaching the National Ballet of Portugal. It's such a lovely time with them. I'm so grateful because I get to travel here and do my thing, you know? Do my thing. I'm just turning on the camera and just... Right before I turn on the camera, I just want to talk about something that comes to mind and that I've had come up in a few conversations that I have had recently, and also recently and prior, before or something, and I just share a perspective of conversations that I have with people that are my friends or close friends, or well, I wouldn't say close friends, or more of acquaintances because I don't live in the same cities as them. But I just it's really interesting to know about people, and when you share and when you share life challenges and life struggles and life, the positive things in life and what made people tick, and when you have conversations that can bring you closer together. And I seem to have more of those conversations more often than not these days, and I find them so refreshing because I don't really like to talk about the weather or talk about the news or what's going on in the whole big wide world. I just more or less like to talk about human behavior and how people respond to certain things, and just connect, connect and have fun, because yeah, this music is really serious, but I'm not in a really profound deep mood, but I'm just reflecting on something in these conversations. And I am considered to be successful in my business to a lot of people, and whatever that means. Success for me is I define success on how much I grow and how much I am dealing with myself in my daily life, and realizing that I am much more powerful if I allow certain things. I've talked about in all my talks that it's more or less people perceive people to be a different way. And I think that the moral of this story is perception and assumptions are also illusory, because we perceive something, and from where we stand at the moment, how do we perceive a situation or a person or a circumstance or something like that, how we perceive. And perception is a very unique thing, because the perception is what we project actually out, and we can believe that. And I think it's probably most likely synonymous with assuming, because I have these conversations that some people, when I share myself and share some struggles that I've had in my life and that I've experienced as I got older, and at the same time I'm really successful at what I do, because I believe that I've manifested my reality. Now, does that make me more good, a better person, or that I don't suffer, or that I don't suffer because of the success I have? And it looks like, it can look like that I am all together and whatever that means, and that I have no worries, or that I'm often in a good space or good mood because I choose, or that I'm successful. And I think that that is an assumption that is had, at least in my situation. I still feel, you know, I feel challenged, and I feel my feelings, and I feel low at times, and I've realized, and I've accepted that more or less, well, I've accepted it completely, that I will feel low, and we will feel low, and I believe that we're vibration, and so vibration is just passing through me, and that's what I am, and I'm low. And sometimes I don't feel like, you know, being in anyone's space or being around people. I've accepted more or less that, and I realize that I can, that is part of me. And so, you know, sadness happens, disappointment happens, and anger happens, stress happens. All of these things that we've labeled, and they're not labels anymore. It's just that those things happen and they arise in my experience. My battery is blinking, so if it turns off, I'm really sorry, but I'm just going to stop. But I think the moral of the story is that we assume that people are all together. I like to use, recently we lost a person that was very, very funny, and Robin Williams, the comedian, obviously committed suicide. And so there, I projected onto this person. I was shocked because I thought, how can this person, I don't know, like, I thought he had everything, you know, in his life, and obviously he didn't. He felt depressed, and depression is a very, very difficult thing, I would assume, in someone's life, and depressed. And that's a clinical problem. But from where does that come from? When all of the, you know, our society says is if you do this and this and you achieve this and this and you have all this money, then you'll feel happy and you'll feel safe and secure, and nothing will, you know, you feel that will bring happiness. And I think that that is just not true. I certainly in myself, I feel I am successful at what I do, but it doesn't matter externally what I'm doing. It's what I do, and I enjoy, and I love my work, and I love my life and my opportunities. But that doesn't change anything in me, in the sense of like, that I feel sadness, or I feel disappointed, or I feel that people judge me, or all these kind of things that I label in my experience, because that certainly happens. And when I have these conversations with people, they're surprised that they're surprised, like, oh, you seem to have it all together. I think, my friends, it's a choice. It's a choice on choosing the light instead of the dark over every situation as much as I can. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but I've read a lot of books and things that support me and support this way of living. And I really find this much more joyful in my experience by not responding automatically to something or listening to my head that's full of junk and condition, because my head is conditioned, and we are brainwashed in our society that competition and comparison is rampant. It's everywhere. And that, you know, if you're number one, or if you, I don't know, I'm not number one, I'm not trying to toot my horn here at all. Like, I'm successful in this dance world, and I get around, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't like me or like my work and all that, and that's all good. I don't care. I think it's just, you know, that's their choices, and I value my own choices, so I would value their choices however they want to live their lives. So I'm not really concerned about that. I think I like my preferences and choices, but I certainly start to realize that there is choices that I make, and choices that I make that I benefit from, that make me feel much more joyful. And that's my own being and my self-love that I have in myself. Because loving yourself, for me, is ultimately, you know, fully loving yourself and accepting. And I'm there. I love myself so much that I recognize these patterns, and I choose love above everything, and that's why I share every single day. So I think assuming and projecting onto people what you think is true is not necessarily true. And I think all people suffer. We're all one thing, and we all suffer in some way or in one area of our life than others. And I think that success externally with however money you have or whatever your, you know, whatever status you have, or that it's all ego based. And all of that is like, can stop you from growing. And if you like believe in that you are that ego, because you are not that ego, know you are your story. And I say this over and over because I really believe that it's the salvation that I've recognized in myself, to be more at peace with myself and allow all that is. And things rise and fall, and moments are impermanent, and things are impermanent. So therefore I feel much more happy when I go with the flow. And that's the number one thing. Truth, forgiveness, and self-love are always an opportunity to choose. And when I choose that, I feel so much better.